Shawn Clement here from the Richmond Hill Golf Learning Center, and our second video of 2011. We're going to pursue with the video that we did on throwing the club, and that was very beneficial for a lot of you, okay? Now, after you've thrown the club a couple of times and you felt that, you really don't need to do that anymore. You can just pretend, right? So if I'm going to take this club and pretend I'm throwing it out there, it would look like this. So energy's going out there, it's not going down there, number one. Now, let's take this one step farther down the rabbit hole, okay? So for those of you who are looking at learning how to hit high and low shots. Now, we touched on this with the one-leg drill part 2, high and low. And here is a way that you're going to learn this much more by feel and instinct. This is the new wave of golf instruction, this thing about positions and, you know, got to put this on the swing plane, all that stuff. You can see that we're really phasing this out in our instruction here. It's all about how do you teach the central nervous system, your guts, your instincts, how to perform the golf swing without thinking about it. You got enough to think about when you're out there, right? So if I'm going to hit a high shot, well, let's examine what I would need to do to throw the club high down that range. So if I set up right here and I'm getting ready to throw the club up here into my netting, it would look like that. So that felt like I'd be throwing the club up high. Let's examine what ball position I would need to coordinate with that. Well, hang on a second. If I play the ball back here, can I go high? Not a chance. So I would have to reach back on my back leg, reach back with my body, and then my physicality, I'm going to hurt my back, I'm going to hurt my right knee, I'm going to have all kinds of compensations to do that. So instinctively, if this is the motion, right? So we have an action to a target. My target is out there, and I want to hit it up and over a tree and down and towards that target. I'm going to hit a little fade around the top of that tree. So high fade. So you notice how I still have the shift. I'm still releasing everything out there. So I'm going to be preparing by squatting up against the left side. So right now I've got about 70-30 against the left side, and I'm using the left leg to turbocharge that action up there nice and high around that tree. So where does the ball need to be in the way of that? Well, I'm going to have to play it substantially forward in my stance. So I'm looking at my tree now, the left edge of the tip of that tree that I'm going around with a fade. And then I'm looking back down, I'm feeling the action out there, and I can feel that the ball, is now properly in the way of that. So here we go. So it felt like a nice flush contact. Felt like it was in the way of that particular action. Now if I wanted to hit the ball low, pretend you're throwing the club low down the target line. So if I'm throwing the club low, see the difference in my body language? So now, if I play the ball forward, I'm going to have to lunge forward substantially to keep that ball in the way of that low release. If I don't, it feels like the ball is in the way of an upwards release, so that's not instinctive. So instinctively, for the ball, grass ground to be in the way of my low release, it's going to have to be back here. Now back here, if I keep the same grip club face relationship, it feels like when I release down and low in that direction, it feels like the ball's going to squirt a little right. So I'm going to take the club face and close it just a tad. Now it feels like when I release low to that target, it feels like the ball's going to go in that direction, and it's not going to be lost to the right. Okay? Same thing for that high ball flight. You'll notice that after hitting a couple of shots, if you feel that the ball, obviously, as you were looking for a high fade or a high shot, you're going to have to open the club face a little bit for that as well. So back to that nice high fade. There it is. So use the club throwing analogy Throw it high, throw it medium, throw it low, and feel the different heights that you can launch that ball. And then establish your ball position in relation to you releasing the energy out there, okay? Enjoy that tip. That's really going to pay off for you big time in 2011.